Hey there, a bunch of us here at CSU.
Hello, Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello.
Who else with us? Come on, people, don't be shy. So I see
Hey Eduardo,
Amanda.
how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming.
Yep, I have Mario and Shelly's son with us too.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, guys. Seems that Dr. Ryan Ferris, Dr. Joe Noble, Shelly, Lindsay, Amanda. Okay, good deal. All right. To those of you who came to our web workshop, I want to thank you one more time. It was a great meeting. I think that over there we had the chance to not only talk about everything that is done so far, but also about the great things that are coming and on the corner. We're gonna have tons of new features coming from this point on. We just finished a couple of tests. I was last week at the 4.6's range trying testing the Global Vet Link integration. So now in the program, you guys are going to be able to find, I should be recording a new lesson sometime soon. So under here on the tools, data, you guys are going to find the integration for QuickBooks. So Wise Option is now possible to dump your data into QuickBooks and also the Global Vet link. So you will be able to, request your lab tests for Coggins as well as health certificates through Wise Option. Still under beta version. The whole idea is to have, let me try to flush the memo on this one here. The whole idea is to have the, users no longer visiting Global Vet Link. Pretty much you should be able to do everything from Wise Option. The session today is pretty much trying to give you guys the chance to make questions, especially for those who did not have the chance to go for the workshop. So it's an open floor, and if you do have questions, just feel free and jump in. Anybody would like to be the first?
Hi, Eduardo. It's Deshane here.
Hey, Deshane. Hello. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for doing the webinar today.
No problem.
Do we have any updates on the possibility of uploading a formatted document to mail merge, like into a contract or a mayor record or anything?
Can you repeat the first part? To upload what?
A formatted letter, like for a breeding contract, or to pre-print, say, a mayor record or something like that.
Well,
With
are
the
you
Wise
talking about mainly about the form letters?
Yes and no. We would like it to use the existing data fields to generate a letter automatically. But previously, we could upload a Word document or a file instead of having, so it was already formatted.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happens in the new form letters? It's exactly doing what you're saying. You're going to have the chance in the form letter to select a particular patient. And by the way, since I'm here, I'm just showing you guys where you're going to create the new Global Vet Link integration, where you have the, just seizing the opportunity, I'm here. We have going to have two new fields, the registration and origin for the Global Vet Link. But going back to your question, Deshane, form letters in Wise Option 6, you're going to have the chance. Well, let me see if I can go. Yes, the best way to go for you to test, if you're trying to print for a particular horse or patient, you go straight to the patient file and then you go to the form letters. On this side here, you're going to have the chance to create kind of collections of templates. So you could have one for stallions, one for mares, one for regular letters, customer letters. So to create, you just click on the plus and you create your new folder. And as soon as you create one folder on this side here, you have the templates for that folder.
So, I mean, is that going to be possible? Like, we used to, use those coded fields
Correct.
in a contract, for example, so that we could email the contract
Correct.
to a client already with their information, pre-done in, so they didn't have to write their address in again, or if we knew it was for a specific course, that would already be in there. So, like, the contract is, say, 6 pages long.
Well, what you do next is, suppose that I'm here. I'm going to use this folder so I just don't have to create a new folder. And I'm going to create a new template. I'm going to call this one here my sample template. So as soon as I start, the difference from the previous one is because Microsoft Word was outside of WiseOption. And WiseOption 6, Microsoft Word is inside WiseOption. As soon as you create the new template, you're going to get into the editing portion of the template. And you're going to have the fields for you to format. But remember, now we are in a cloud environment. So instead of using the controls for the cloud, the Microsoft Word, we are giving our users the chance for you to edit more enriched HTML documents. The fields are exactly the same. So if you want to put, the mayor name, you just come here and you go to the patient information and you grab the patient name. You double click and the variable goes there. And if you have the owner name, and remember, I'm coming from the patient file. So if I go to the owner, I just go here to the customer information and I pick the customer name. And you keep going with this process so you don't have to repeat. Address, line 1. So you're going to have the primary address, billing, physical, or mailing address. I'm going to put the billing address in my letter. So the line 1 is going to be here. I'm going to remove the label so you can just do like this, or so then on the second line you would add the line number 2, and you would have the chance to add then the city, the state, the zip, the country, and I'm just double clicking for you to get those things. From that point on, you just can start city, comma, state, and then you give a few lines and actually spaces, and you give another space. So now I can save and exit, and my template is created, and I was coming from here from the patient, going to the form letters, select the folder, select the template, and preview. And it did not work as expected. Let me check let me close.
Yeah, we went through some simple things, like we were trying to redo some of our farrier schedule, or yes, this mare, your recipient is pregnant at 25 days, and we couldn't get the fields to merge correctly.
Okay, let me check here. Maybe I am doing something wrong. No, it's not.
Eduardo, I haven't been able to either. I just thought it was something I was doing wrong, but I was trying to send my departure reports. And where it says like dear client, it just stays client, like it's not picking up information.
It seems that we do have a broken link here. Let me try from a different position. Let me try for example, from a breeding log. And the difference, here's the form letters from the breeding log. The difference is that basically from the breeding log, now I should have all the breeding data available to me. Let me go back to the first of the year. And I'm going to put anyone here. I'm going to go for form letters. I'm going to use the same folder. I'm going to say breeding record. Let me try a couple of things real quick here, if I can figure out a couple of things. Breeding record. So breeding date. Then I'm going to put mayor information, mayor name, and in the mayor name, I'm going to give the owner information, your name. Let me give some space here. And I'm going to just say free data, grab the bring record, preview. Yep, it is merging here. So what's happening is that the merge is not happening in the patient files. There must have a lost link in the patient file. I will fix that immediately for you guys. I promise a fix still this week. But as you can see over here, going from the breeding log, it is working. I'm having some echo. If you guys are not using the mic, please put your mic on mute to help us. Just mute your mic. That should help us to avoid echoes. So it is working from here on the breeding log, and but it's not working as we could see. That's most definitely a glitch, and I'm going to add that glitch fix, before the end of the week. I promise you guys that we should have that fix on this one. Now,
and so just so that I understand totally, so if I've got already a composed formatted Word document, I should be able to copy that and then paste it into 6.
Yes.
And then insert my merge, insert my fields that I'm wanting.
That's correct. That's correct. So
okay.
If I'm going to the embryo transfer log, and if I grab my ETs completed, and I go for the beginning, and I pick the one that I have here. So I have the donor, the sire, and I'm going now, same @ sign up here on top, just using the same. So I'm going to create a new one. This I'm going to call the ET sample. Now, because I'm coming from the ET log, I should have more variables, and I'm going to the ET log. And because I'm also coming from the ET log, by consequence, you should have available to you also the flush log and the breeding record, because there's a link between those 3 tables. So I'm going to put the ET date, going to put the, breeder's name, stallion name, embryo age. So here you have the donor and the recipient mare. So this is the donor, and this is the recipient mare. And like you said, Lindsay, from this point on here, you just have to give some formatting and the program should work just fine. So, if you want to do like, let me grab this one. I'm going to do bold, underlined. This one here, I'm going to put in red. So these are silly changes, but just so you guys grab the idea, and this is going to be italic. Okay, so save and exit. Again, I'm going to close form letters here to show where I'm coming from. And I'm coming from the grade over here. And I'm clicking on the form letters icon, select the folder, pick the template, preview. Let's see if it merges. Yep, it merged the data. Now, the difference in WISE option 6, for example, if you have a contract, you can send as a PDF, or you can send the email. So this is for you to send the email as a regular HTML file. So if you want to send as a PDF file, what's going to happen is that when you click here, the content of this document, WISE option is going to generate the PDF file, open another window where you can pick the cover letter for the email, which probably is going to be another eForm letter template. And then you're going to just hit send, and the first document is the attachment, and the second merged document is the cover letter. So as you can see, when I click here on the send email as a PDF, it gives me the chance to pick another one. So I would recommend for you guys to have another one that says cover letter, and you pick the cover letter and you preview or send the email. So the second is the cover, the first is the actual official document that you will be able to send, as an attachment. Now, one thing that I want to notice here for you guys is that there is a big difference from the Microsoft Word on this one, is that when you are in the editing mode, and I am going to record extensive e-learnings on this particular topic here for you guys. I'm going to be very detail oriented about the things you can do regarding the form letters. It's about the template, the HTML. The HTML portion, you look inside this thing here that looks like a code. That's pretty much how people design websites. It most definitely is not for the end user, but the person who does your website for you is going to appreciate this portion here big time. And the reason is because the same language that they use to build your websites, they can use to create the form letters. And they can come up with very appealing templates for you that will contain your logo, borders, watermarks, backgrounds, so for the regular user, straight letters, you go for the design mode, which is something that you can easily hand, but you're going to be a little bit restricted on the options that you have because we are in the cloud. We are prioritizing the options that we have on the HTML page. And what we have seen some users doing is pretty much tweaking the first version. Grab a first version from your web designer, and the other ones would go for, kind of you playing around and making small modifications. For those who like computers and play along well with, some languages, the working with these type of languages is not a big secret. It's a couple of hours. You're going to be performing major, big changes, and you can probably customize this yourself. Or just placeholders. As you can see, this is a bold comment. It says it's strong, it's bold. This one here is italic. But with these techniques here, you will be able to then have your contracts in, a very sharp manner designed. And especially when you send as a PDF, the final thing, the final print is going to look way better to the end user. I hope I'm making some sense here for you guys. Next question.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Does it make sense? Am I answering your question here, Lindsay?
Yes, to a point. I mean, I think I'm just gonna have to try, because what I'm really worried about is that, we enjoyed the feature of being able to send, pre-filled contracts. And they're pretty intricate. So making sure that I can copy basically everything in, that's gonna be the question. How to format it.
There's no other questions. Let's explore this a little bit more. For example, if you are on the breeding contract, okay, if you work with the breeding contracts, you're gonna have all the entire mare and stallion information.
No, but what I mean by the contracts is like not contracts through Wise Auction, contracts that like I'm required to have a client sign in order to do business here. So it's actually, not really who they're booking their horse to. I mean, it has that data, but it's them agreeing to the legal terms of doing business with me.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, it seems that your contracts would be more coming instead of coming from the breeding log. I'm going to use the right click here, go to the customer management, and when you pick any customer,
yeah,
when you pick any customer here, you would then use the form letters from this point here, starting from this point, and you would have one other folder called customer contracts. And inside that particular document, that template, you're going to use primarily the customer data from this part.
Yeah, does that also, does the horse information, patient ID show up in there? Because that would also be included.
Yeah, no, that patient ID, I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. And like I said, by the end of the week, you should have it fixed there. I'm going to make sure that you guys get an update on that one. Now, somebody's asking me on the chat window if there's any suggestions or recommendation about web design. HTML, it's a very common language. It's the most popular, so it's that people design things. So feel free to have any, your current designer, I'm pretty sure that person should be able to handle the HTML format just fine. I've just seen people doing, amazing things, because especially with logos that look very professional. The credit card receipts, it's another thing that you can customize. So you can give all the, receipts over through WiseOption as well. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Eduardo, I have a really simple question.
Yes, please.
How do you delete a horse?
Can
you delete a horse anymore?
No, it's not possible. What you can do in the new version, you can merge horse files. And when you merge horse files, and it's in the merge module, and you can merge. So now you can merge if you have duplicates. If you accidentally created 2 horse files or 2 customer files, you can do, bring both. So let me do one case over here for you to see. So let's see that I have this CC brand champion here, and I'm going to create a new patient. I'm going to call it CC champion, as I didn't notice. I'm going to say that she's 9 years old, no registration. Color, I'm going to say sorrow. Primary doctor, female, owner, I'm going to say is going to the New Frontier. And as you can see, I'm using only my mouse, my keyboard. I'm going to do, this is going to be a performance tab. Water horse, Alt S. It's going to open that file. Okay, now I have 2 CCs. If I go here and I look for CC, so I now have 2. It was an accident, 27 and 78. So I want to put 78 together with 27. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go for my tools, data, merge. I'm going to merge patient files. So first I select the source, and I'm going to look here. As soon as I type CC, I'm going to see the 27 and the 28. So the source, it's the one that I want to delete, and the destination is the one that will receive the data. So the source is going to be the 78, and the destination will remain CC 27, submit. So I'm going to say merge. Do you want to continue? Yes. Double confirmation. Because this is really something we cannot go back, you even have to say you must enter yes to proceed. Yes, this is what I want to do. Last chance. And then you click yes, and the program is going to find some, things that here it's comparing the source with destination, and it's comparing, the neck band number, date of birth, microchip. So it's saying, hey, a couple of things here are not quite equal in both files. Which one should be preserved. And you can choose if, for example, I say here that instead of sorrow in bay, it's going to be sorrow. So the new file will not use bay, it's going to use the sorrow code for color. So you can pick which one you want to stay with, submit, and the program after that point is going to merge those two files. And of course, this is going after all the breeding records, mare records, invoices, and all the, embryo transfer, flushes, shipping, everything. That's why this module is so complex, because it's, grabbing everything and putting in one single file. So now that it is merged, when I go back to the patient file, and I check here and I say CC, actually the source was the one remaining, 27. So 78 went to the 27, so now 27 remains. And everything, it stays in one horse file. So I decided to stick with the most recent one. I'm sorry, with the very first one. And the 78, which was the one I entered recently, I decided to dump into the old file. So now 78, it's no longer exist, but you do not have the chance to delete the horse file in the system. Was the reason you were trying to delete horse files because duplicates, Amanda?
Yes, it was. Eduardo, I was noticing here, did it pick up both jobs and both breeds? Did it pick it up twice, like two of them were checked?
Correct. And that's correct. And then you have the chance to remove one of them and then you stick with one of them at the end. So like the job purpose, it's you stick with both. So you have to do some, tune-ups towards the end and you have to fix it. I'm going to do this intentionally just to force it to refresh. Now it stays with the final one. Because job purpose and the breed are, multi-selection, it stays with both. So you have the chance to pick the one that clean up a little bit later. Good question. Thank you.
Thanks, Eduardo. What about the Global Vet Link? Is everybody able to use that? I noticed it today, and so I found where to log in, and I put in my information, but it said I wasn't able to.
Yeah, Global Vet Link, I would ask you guys to wait for our, right now we have two large places testing it. It's the 4 Sixes in Royal Vista Southwest. It's still in beta. Basically, there are two things you've got to do in the Global Vet Link. You first go to data integration, and in the Global Vet Link, you connect to Global Vet Link. So this is where you put your username and password. And there's a second thing you have to do, which is about, what Global Vet Link calls it webhook link. The webhook link, it's a link that we provide to you guys upon request, that you have to put that information in your account in Global Vet Link. So in Wise Option, you enter your username and password, and in Global Vet Link, you put Wise Options link, so Global Vet Link knows where to go in order to provide the results for the lab requests. That's still in beta. If everything goes well, I think that by the end of next week, you should have the first e-learnings teaching you how to link your accounts. And I want to have as many people on this as possible. The first part on the Global Vet Link is going to be to give you the chance to connect. So, to link, the first step you have to do is to learn how to link the horse in your database to the existing horses already in Global Vet Link. That's what's going to take some time. But after that's done, every time you have a new horse, You just in Wise Option should be able to do everything. You just add the horse into Wise Option, and then from Wise Option, you say, add this horse to the Global Vet link. Wise Option is going to add that horse in Global Vet link for you. Create the link. You can upload the images from Wise Option. You can create the markings, and do the lab test requests. So it's going to be able to do pretty much the whole thing. There's one pending part that Global Vet Link could not allow us to do yet, which was signing the lab requests. So users are doing the lab requests through Wise Option, everything, and then they go to the website real quick and in a massive way sign all of them. But it's going to be possible to sign. They promised us that they're going to find a way to get us the chance to sign the documents also from Wise Option. But one thing that is going to happen is that from the Wise Option, you're going to be able to, once you have passed the phase of linking the patients, you're going to be able to add multiple patients at once. So let's say that you added 5-6 mares to the system, and you come here and you add all of them to Global Vet Link. And if you have several mares to request tests or horses to request the Coggins exam, for example, you just do through a multiple test. I don't have a Global Vet Link account, so it's not going to be possible for me to do a demo on this one here. Anybody else? More questions?
I've got another one, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay, under the setup portion, where I think it's under when you go to tools and you're picking whether you want it to be, the page where you pick the AV or you pick the options. I think is it under options, the setup there? Click on that for me.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm in the right place. Yes, okay. So I think it's on here where you can change, what I want is I want to be able to type in the sort ID setup maybe. I want to be able to type in the neckband field or change some of those, but I don't want neckband to show up in my horse sort ID. I want it to be its own. So I want patient sort ID really just to be the name and not have any of those other things. And I couldn't get, when I clicked on the gear, I couldn't get it just to accept name. It kept putting nickname and neckband in that field.
So you want the sort ID to be only the name?
Correct. But I want to be able to utilize neckband in there, but I don't want it to show up on the patient sort ID.
I'm not very, let me go to a patient file here real quick. I'm going to right click, go to the main menu, patient in a new tab. So once I select one patient here, this patient, because the sort ID in my case, it is composed of neckband, the name, and the nickname. So,
yes.
So if I change it in that masks determines how, so for example, if I change the neckband over here, it's going to be now 546. The program automatically updates sort ID so I can save. I can overwrite the mask by clicking on this label link. And I can say, look, I don't want, for this case only, I do not want the neckband, and I can save from here. So I'm forcing the program to ignore my mask and stick with the sort ID. However, if I change anything again, it will jump ahead and redo it for me.
Yeah. Well, so for example, I like the field of having nickname in there, but it's always been our policy that we don't call horses by their nicknames. But sometimes when the owner calls, they say, hey, how's Sunny doing? So I would like to know that horse is Sunny, but I don't want it showing up and confusing people in the sort ID as a reference, because we should always call her Sunny Blue Dash.
Well, it seems that in your case, if I'm getting this right, because you have to remember something here. For example, if I go to, let's say I go to, I don't know, any place that you have drop-down list boxes. So if I go to procedures and I'm going to, let me pick one here. Quick data entry is a good example. I'm going to use this form here.
There's a way for it not to be there, Eduardo, because mine doesn't show any of that, and I just tried it.
Yeah,
I don't know how to have it set up, but
probably yes, probably your setup and tools are not properly done. But what I'd like to remind you guys is that every time you have a drop-down list box, what comes into the drop-down list box is actually the sort ID. Therefore, I think it is a good idea for you to have in the sort ID as many details about the horse as possible. In the sort ID, we thought about having the nickname, the neckband, and the proper name, because remember, in the invoice, it's not the sort ID what it shows, it's only the name that shows in the invoice. But internally, sometimes, somebody who works at the barn is going to come to you with the neckband number. And if you don't have the neckband number in the sort ID, I could not find that horse here in the drop-down list box. Now back to the settings, tools and options. You can change the format of this to your like. Let me suggest a couple of things. I'm going to use this one here, for example. In this sort ID mask for the patient name, I'm not using the nickname and I'm not using the neckband either. So I'm going to save this one and I'm going to pick the name and apply. So from this point on, the new sort IDs in Wise option is going to be only the name. Let me do it different. I'm going to click on the gear again. And I'm going to create a new sort ID. And thinking about your case, Lindsay, I'm going to say the name is the first thing to show, but I would like to show here the nickname. I'm going to give it let me do this way. I'm going to put a space over here. Let me see how I can do this. Yes, I'm going to do the nickname, and then I'm going to tab over. I'm going to do a dash space in the neckband. Space, I'm going to close. So this is something new that I have created. And I'm going to apply this one as my new sort ID. Therefore, in the sort ID, the first thing that it shows, it's actually the proper name. But I still have in the sort ID as a reference for my searches, the nickname and neckband. When you change major things, oops, and I did not click OK. Let me see if that was saved. Only Jesus. No, it was not saved. Go back to my gear, select the one that I created, I applied, and click OK to save that thing. All right. I'm going to check one more time to see if it's there now. And sort ID. Sure enough, it's saved. I like to flush the memory once I do some settings and changes in the program, because flushing the memory pretty much forces Wise option to start over. Therefore, those settings are fully used in the initial scripts of the program. And if I go to any patient file now, let me pick CC. And look, I'm going to change the neckband number to 64, and that sort ID, as I change the neckband, should take the new format. And sure enough, it did. I don't know if that's going to be a good alternative for you, Lindsay. But again, if I save this.
But what I was just wondering is that, can I, back in those options where we were changing it, can I leave in the sort ID really how you have that one option is only name?
Yes.
And then I'll pull nickname and neckband?
Well, it will not pull in your searches in the drop-down list box. It's going to consider only the name.
Okay.
When you're doing drop-down list box in Wise Option, it's the sort ID. And if you do not have in the sort ID the neckband nor the nickname, therefore, those two fields will be ignored in the search.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think where we had been used in, side note, we'd used neckband in a whole different way probably than a lot of other people had. And so I don't, it wouldn't help us to have the information that's in that field show up anymore, because it delineated a program. So it's, anyway. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Another question that I have here in the chat room is asking us if the customer page billing options. So when we have the customer, if you have the credit card transactions, so for any customer, if you go to the billing options and you set up one customer for credit card and auto pay full balance, if that's going to auto charge at the end of the month. So actually the way this works is that you must have a couple of things working here. The customer, number one, in the billing options has to be credit card full payment balance like this. That's requirement number one. Requirement number two is that the balance of the account has to be greater than $0. $0 in credits, of course, will not show in the list. And the third requirement is that in their digital wallet, there is a not expired credit card on file. So three things: billing, auto pay, full balance. Number two, a balance in the account. And number three, a valid credit card on file. Once you have, for the customers that have those three things fulfilled, when you go to the billing module, and you're going to have, through the billing checklist, you're going to go over all the checklists. And here at the end is where you print the statements. For those with credit card, you have an extra button, which is automated charges. When you click on this button here on your program, you will see the list of customers that fulfill those three conditions I just mentioned to you. And besides the names, you're going to have check boxes, so you can pick and choose still which customers from that list. But it is not something Wise Option does automatically. You have to go there and say, okay, I finished my billing. And as soon as you finished your billing, you go to automated charges, you select the customer, and you click on the charge button. That's when the program is going to go for, the 20, 30, or 50 customers. Is going to charge one at a time, so you don't have to go to each customer account. It charges the customer, and it provides you a feedback right on the screen for those that have been successfully processed from those that had some sort of a problem. Decline, credit card canceled, or something of that sort. So for those that have been processed successfully, Wise Option is going to send a receipt to the customer, send a copy to you, and post the payment into the customer account at the same time. But you are going to have the information right on the screen showing you which ones have been processed successfully. In my case, it is dark. The question is, why is mine is not available? Because this is a demo sample database. So in my case, I don't have a credit card merchant account for the demo database in WiseOption. If you do have X-Charge set, you should have this option available. So if you can process credit card in WiseOption, you should have this button here light up. No problem. We still have a few minutes. More questions? Anybody? One thing, just to kill a few minutes. If you have questions, just feel free to jump in. I have just seizing the opportunity. We are going to create a new module that is coming on the new version. Is this week. You guys should see it there. It's still in test. But you're going to have with form letters also the chance to have custom reports. For custom reports, if you think something like pre-purchase exams, post-surgery exams, or discharge instructions, you will, in the same content that you do your form letters, you will be able to create, questions and wizards that gives you in a document the chance for the user to answer those questions. So you can create, I'm going to record an e-learning on this one shortly as well. But basically the idea is that you can create one document composed of blocks inside that document, also utilizing form letters. And what the program does, as you use that template, a wizard pops up, and in that wizard, you're going to have the input box for you to fill out with the information that you can, on the fly provide what we call the custom report. And at the end, you can save that custom report to the patient file. And of course, also email that custom report as a PDF attachment to your customers. So this is one of the new things that are coming as well. Let me see what else we can mention here. I think you guys are going to see some extra buttons coming to you soon. You should have the hospital module as well. We're going to give our users a free trial. I think for 90 days, you're going to be using the hospital module and the inventory module, so you can play with it a little bit. That should be coming to you in a few weeks. We're going to let you know through announcements. But other than that, we are trying to use the discussion group as much as possible with new videos. I don't know if you guys have had the chance also to go to our YouTube channel. It's also the same thing. I'm going to type here on the query on the YouTube channel. You're just going to look for WiseOption Equine on youtube.com. And you're going to find our channel. It is exactly the same collection of videos you're going to find in the e-learning library that we are going to have in the discussion group. The only difference is that if you sign up to the YouTube channel, every time we post something, you receive an email. If you subscribe and you click on the little ring button there, it's going to let you know as soon as we have a new video. Under here, help, you're going to find on the new version from WiseOption, you will be able to access the e-learning. So from the program, you're going to be able to watch the videos in the program. And also we are coming up with a new, I don't even know, let me test this. I think this is still on test, but let me see if it works. seems that it's coming up. There you go. So from the program is going to be able, let me see if the videos work from here as well. Let me see if I go to customer and I want to see something about alerts. It opens the YouTube video on a new tab and you can watch right on the spot.
This is learning we can explore.
So you can, watch and practice at the same time. It's nice if you have two monitors so you can carry this to another different monitor. The manual, it's something that we have started recently. Let me take a look. It's a work in progress as well, but some people prefer to read instead of watching. Yeah, it's just the beginning. But server connections, professional, adding a new professional. So it has all the screens. So we're trying to give you guys as much information as possible on how to operate the program and everything. So, and of course, every time you get a new version, you receive the list of new features. Anybody else? Any questions? This is for you guys. Feel free to ask. The discussion YouTube channel has been something, people are, if you want to contribute and put your posts there, throw your questions through the discussion group. How often do you guys think we should do these webinars? Every other week, once a month?
I don't know, Eduardo, group time and everything. I like the once a week idea, at least for our staff, because we're not always available all the time.
Yeah. And it usually takes a while for people to break the ice, but the more we practice, the more, you're going to feel more in home, and you're going to be able to just use the room as a regular chat. You don't come up just if you have questions. You can just jump in and have a nice conversation. Another thing that I'm going to try to do is that right after the webinar is to compile a video and post into the discussion, just post on the discussion group, so we have a history. But I will right away then schedule. And how about the time? Is this hour good? I'm going to stick with 3 o'clock Central. And I'm going to schedule another one probably for next Wednesday. I think it's good for us to have, some of these discussions in the beginning so you guys can. Since you don't have questions, well, the most frequent ones I have had here, it would be what? Navigations has been some struggles for certain people. Queries have been another one, creating queries. With the global vet link thing, we created new queries fields. So in the queries, for example, after, in the queries, you're going to have fields like global vet link status, if the patient is linked. So you're going to be able to find the patients in the list based on the global vet link status. The mobile app, it's another thing that is going to be growing, large next in the global. Some people started using the calendar because it's now available to everybody. This is a feature that is available for, all users. A module that I've seen people don't using very often is this one, patient procedure summary. It's a good one for those who work with the billing, especially because you just pick a particular patient, and it's going to give you the procedures and the customer account within same screen. So you don't have to leave the patient to go to the customer account. And from here, you can do credit card processing. You can update phone numbers. You can, if you need to access the account for a better view, just click on the link, but you also can, post charges. Patient file is growing big time as well. One feature people are really liking, it's the chance that you have to check in multiple horses at the same time. So you just select multiple horses from the list view, and here you go and you say recurring multiple check-ins. So you check in all those patients at once. You pick the boarding rate. So you just put the date. Of course, you have to think when you are working with this like you were working on batches. And if I click save here now, I will not. But if you click all this, the select patients will be checked in with one click. Likewise, from the recurring module, you have the chance to do multiple checkouts. Another thing that's going to happen here, you can do multiple departure reports. And when you're doing multiple departure reports, if you click on the preview, it's going to generate the departure report for each one of those patients here on the top screen. So you can take a look at the departure reports first. Or if you prefer, you can send them as a PDF attachment. Back to the form letters, another thing that's going to happen, especially for those of you guys who are doing, updates to your customer. Let's say you have positive flushes or heartbeat confirmations. What we are planning to do here, this is coming soon. You would have multiple entries in your breeding log, and we're going to provide check boxes in the first column, and you select multiples. Instead of sending one at a time, you're going to just check and send one form letter, and the default email address for breeding information. Of course, if the account has an email address, from the grid view, you will be able to send massive form letters to your customers. And we're going to be talking soon as well about in the professional, in the username, we're going to probably, it would be next week, you should have some e-learnings regarding permission setup. Although in the manual, you already have some lessons, actually in the tutorials, you already have some lessons about permission setup. Let me go back to the tutorial here real quick. And you can, in the tutorial, go for settings, professionals, and here you go. You already have some lessons to get started with the permission setup. All right, guys, this concludes our session today. We're going to have another webinar like this next week. Put your questions together. If you can give me a heads up about your questions through the discussion group, and I will see you guys in another week from now. All right. Thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Eduardo.